This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScumPodcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You are always scum. Rebel scum.
James, fantastic news. Star Wars is safe.
Oh, what?
Yes. David Filoni is now executive of everything.
He's the executive of Disney.
He's the prime minister of Europe, not a country.
Not
the entire continent.
the little known fact: Dave Filoni's father watched a Disney movie, so Dave Filoni is actually Disney. He is Roy Disney. His Filoni's real name is Roy Disney. Roy. So you saw that that explosion that occurred earlier this week, whenever it was.
I mean, I read the article about it. I don't know. It was a Twitter explosion because I don't do Twitter.
Well, was it the article that I sent you? The article I sent you was more about the New Republic show.
Oh, yes.
But they discussed this in that article because, God forbid, anyone in Star Wars leaves well enough alone. So, yeah, Twitter went... I mean, everyone kind of went crazy with Filoni being promoted. It turned out he has had this role for a year, and he joins... and he's joining John Knoll and Doug Chiang, who are the other two that have this role at LucasFilm. So, I don't know exactly what it means, but... I mean, it's good. Keep him in the family. He obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to Star Wars. I've been watching the Bad Batch show, and I continually say if this was live action, it would be the talk of the town. It would. I think it would be. I genuinely think if it, and not to put anything against animation, but it's not as much of a crowd's going to go see it. And I don't know what we've been getting. I've been like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah. It's. Did you watch the 4th episode?
I did. I once again fell asleep during a portion of it because here's the problem is it's been, like I said last week, it's been very nice out. So during the day I'm like, well, I'm not gonna watch it because it's so nice out. And then in the afternoon I'm like, well, all day, I'm like, in the morning I wake up and I go for a walk with my dog and then I come back and on Fridays I'm working, whatever. But when it's hot out, I'm like, I want to go outside and enjoy the sun. And then when I come in at night, I realize, oh, there's a problem here. I've been on the sun all day. Now I'm exhausted. Yeah. So I try to watch it, as the weekend winds down, and I have like a half hour at night on like a Sunday. But then by then I'm just completely wiped out. This last one was pretty cool though. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was me. I might say it might be my least favorite of it, which is weird. I think it was just like, well, this is the episode where we bring in Fennec Shand, so like let's focus on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to think. I know it. I think I enjoyed the whole Echo and the droids subplot.
I saw a lot of people did.
But like that being said, like it's a good episode, but like nothing overly wowed me. But it is kind of a setup. Like,
yes,
obviously Fennec Shand's coming back, and obviously there's a lot more to it than. I mean, she talks to someone. It's like, I didn't get them, but I'm on the way. Right. So do we think she's talking to someone on the what is it when they're criminals, like I don't know, the seedy underbelly of the galaxy, or is she contacting someone with the Empire?
My first thought was immediately Boba Fett for whatever reason. That's where I immediately went, but I don't know if that would make sense or whatnot. However, if it is Boba Fett, and he's looking for the Bad Batch. That's very intriguing, right?
Yeah.
Because they're altered clones, and he's the original altered clone.
Mm-hmm.
And he has, he grows normal. He's unaltered, I guess. They're altered, he's unaltered. Is that whatever? But like, so that's kind of intriguing. I don't know. What did you think of that when it all played out?
Sorry, what did I think of? What?
When she called, who do you think she was talking to?
Oh, I can't remember how many episodes there's. Is there 10 episodes in this season?
I have zero idea. I'm just on this train until it stops.
Because I only ask because it's like, is it worth introducing another villain? Like, wouldn't like Moff Tarkin and this new Admiral? What's
Loki?
his face? Loki?
That's Loki, right? The guy that plays Loki. He does his voice.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I haven't looked it up. It's got to be him, though, right? It sounds too much like him. Like, I'm Thor. Yes, Thor.
So, like, I feel like they're enough, and I think the rest of the story should focus around who Omega is.
Mm.
But it's hard. I think it did. You know what it is? It hinges on like exactly where this Omega story is going, because I feel like that is definitely what's happening. Also, like setting up how the Empire can.
How do you feel about Omega?
I'm not sure. I'm interested, and like there wasn't a lot of development, in my opinion, in this episode. Maybe I need to rewatch it. It was good. I like obviously this interaction between Omega and Hunter is always cool, and then like she's been locked on Kamino for her entire life, so everything is new. She's very naive to like everything around her. So but to go back to your original question, I'm just gonna go like it's somebody like, like a Jabba the Hutt or something. I don't think it is Jabba the Hutt. It'd be I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, put Jabba in something.
Yeah, put him in something. But the question is, why is she after them, right? Aside from, unless like the Empire is the one that hired her to get them back.
Yeah,
but why would the Empire have to hire her to? Although they hire bounty hunters to get Han, so maybe this is beneath that. I don't know.
Yeah, like, oh no, it isn't Tom Hiddleston.
It's not.
And, no.
Wow, it sounds just like him. I'm calling him Loki. Who is it?
I don't know.
So he's doing a Tom Hiddleston voice.
God, what did you just ask? The funny thing about this episode was like after Fennec Shan's like clearly going after Omega. If I miss, like that was the point of this episode. Up until that point, I thought they were being hunted all because they're just like, we have to get these clones that are like severe liabilities if they're allowed to their own devices. Because it's like, I feel like the Empire is scared of the Bad Batch because they don't know how to control them. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely
what the Empire is all about. So that makes me lean towards there's something going on with Omega. So it might be more than just the Empire on the search for it. Like, so especially like, wouldn't they just send Crosshair with one of his squadrons or something to go hunt them down? Like, I feel like that's the obvious move, because then Crosshair will interact with the Bad Batch and hopefully flip sides at that point. So, yeah, like I am very interested where this character can go. Of Omega, so like, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope. Do you think like, have they announced? Is this a one-off season? Are there going to be more seasons of this? I feel like this might be a good standalone season.
I think so. I wouldn't say no to more, but
no.
It's hard to say, right? Like I can't think of a comparison of like, yes, this was a series that was one season and is good.
Mm-hmm.
That was enough. That's like, but this is like, do we need another season of Bad Batch, or am I being greedy where it's like, we just need more?
I think you're being greedy, but I mean, we also don't know how it's going to end though, right? I'm with you on it, but we don't know how it's going to end. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so right now I would say you're being greedy. I mean, but in a good, like, Star Wars fan way where you want more Star Wars. That's why. I think, if they gave us more, I think we'd all want more. The thing with Star Wars now that is making me curious is because before it was like the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, a couple spin-offs, and then they're like, oh, Mandalorian, and then Clone Wars, obviously, and Rebels, but Clone Wars and Rebels lived within the Star Wars that we knew. But now it's like you're gonna keep dropping Star Wars on us. What is the purpose of the story you're giving us within the larger Star Wars universe? Mm-hmm. I think that's where Omega comes into, and that's what we have to learn. Because really, like, if they're going to do this, and this feels very much connected to all the Star Wars we've gotten, well, especially Disney Plus Star Wars, but this feels very connected, Clone Wars, Mandalorian, they're all very connected. But then you drop Obi-Wan Kenobi, and is that connected? Like, will that feel connected? Are you going to drop the Acolyte? Will that feel connected? And do they need to feel connected? And that's where I'm at right now, because if everything is one giant universal story, then they have to feel connected. But the way they're being built, with the exception of Deborah Chow coming from Mandalorian, it seems very, very on a surface level, because we don't know the ins and outs, but it seems very disconnected right now, which was a problem they ran into with their books and comics and stuff versus the movies a few years ago. So that's my one thing, is where is it all going to fit in? Are they all part of the same game plan, or are they going to be like how the High Republic is right now, where it's separate enough, right? Where it's like, you don't have to worry about much. This is a separate thing all on its own.
I think it would be awesome, like, that they connect these shows in some way. Like, maybe in Book of Boba Fett, we come across one of the surviving Bad Batch. Not that this series is going to end with them all dead, but, like, there's mention of it. Or Omega as an adult. Mm-hmm. Later on, I don't know. Like, I think that would be good, and it doesn't have to be. I would almost say it's like they're going off the success of Mandalorian 2 with all those connections, but, like, I feel like there's no way that, like, the second the people liked what happened with, like, Bo-Katan and Ahsoka and Mandalorian, that they're like, make an animation. Like, no, you can't. Animation takes way too long to make, right?
But they were talking, because obviously season 1 had Fennec Shand, and they threw her in Bad Batch.
Yeah,
right? And the thing is, you're not gonna, they won't have permission to put her in Bad Batch without knowing more about her character. So if it is talking to Boba Fett, that would be something that they would have more information on than we would have gotten at the time, right? Like, we saw the Boba Fett boots and that. So, yeah,
I'm referring more to, like, what will come next, but, like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like Filoni and crew, Filoni, Favreau, anybody that's working with Star Wars right now, they enjoy, especially anyone that works with Filoni, it's like they like connecting these things. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you can't be just on a whim. You're like, I feel like they're setting something up for a later project. Like, it might change how it actually ends up on our screens, but, like, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I think we've said this before. It's like, it doesn't feel like we're in a new era of Star Wars. We are, but you know what I mean? Because of COVID slowing everything down, it's like, it feels like we're still waiting for this wave. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's pretty wild seeing what is coming next, and the end of the Mandalorian is like the Book of Boba Fett. We're like, what?
That was the greatest tease, the greatest hidden secret tease.
Yeah,
of all. Yeah,
so good. But, like, in the same news, like, Rangers of the New Republic, it might be put on hold, or it's being put on hold for right now. It's like, just because they announced it and made a logo, it's like, doesn't mean we'll get it. So it's like, we got to keep that in consideration, that, like, this is still a business. stuff goes away and comes back, right?
That's where I'm still kind of annoyed is the announcing and then like I understand for shareholders. I know that was a shareholder meeting, but I just until it's being shot, I've stopped caring. Like I don't want to hear anything anymore. I don't. I can't get excited over Star Wars projects or even DC projects.
Yeah.
Because like I showed you the Miss Marvel thing was like done shooting. I'm like, what the hell? Didn't they like? It's like when did they start? But it's like, but that is Marvel's well-oiled machine. They're like, this is what we're doing. Go. This is what we're doing. Like the only one that seems to keep getting pushed back that was kind of oddly maybe announced was like Blade. Where Blade they've pushed back. I mean the COVID didn't help, but it's been pushed back I think to like next year, and they still don't have a director or anything yet. So it feels that one's the only one that feels maybe like. But it's going to happen. Like, I think it is going to happen. You know, I have 100% faith in that because it's Marvel. And like, they're like, we're going to do this. And then they do it. And you're like, what the hell? Just like, WandaVision was like, oh, they're like, we did it. Like, what? When? How did you? What? So, whereas Star Wars, like, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And right now we have scripts for Obi-Wan, but they're also being rewritten. And you're like, okay. So, do you have anything tangible right now?
The most rewritten series in a long time. I know there's tons of drafts though. It's just like that's getting to a point where it's just like, was that something they announced recently that rewritten, or are you talking about the original?
No, it was like they announced. So then they did the announcement with Ewan McGregor, and they're like, and we have scripts. And then a few months later, they're like, nah, we throw out those scripts.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but apparently, here's something though that I what am I talking to you about? Is they said the rumor was that the scripts were like him and maybe like a baby Luke or a young Luke, and they said it was too similar to the Mandalorian. But now you look at Bad Batch, and this is also similar to the Mandalorian, which it's Omega, right? It's like, is there a problem here where Star Wars only knows how to have people walk around with young kids?
I think it's like everyone wants to have that family connection, right? So it's like it doesn't matter that she's young. It's like it's no different from like Luke and Vader and Han and Beckett for that matter. It's like the connection of that role model in your life and how that affects it. So it's like we're always looking for a group of people to connect with, right? So but yeah, like it yeah, whatever. Like it's just like just make these movies just in these series. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, like I think it was could losing what's her face? Gina Carano completely unhinge this Rangers of the New Republic show. Like it's not like you made any points to what is going to happen in this series. To my knowledge, it's like it's just all we knew is like it's called Rangers of the New Republic and it connects to Mandalorian in some way, and we all assumed it was, I mean, it was said that Gina Carano was supposed to be in this series, and we all assumed it had something to do with how she joins the Resistance or I guess the New Republic, which will become the Resistance, but you know what I mean? So it's like you still can make that show. Like you could drop in a young Oscar Isaac.
That's what
CG Leia.
That's why I sent that article, because okay, they got rid of Carano, and they're like, and they didn't say, and then so what happened was there was apparently during that announcement it was supposed to be Rangers of the New Republic, and they're going to attach her to it, but controversy had just led up just before that, so they didn't. She wasn't like let go officially, or she might have been, whatever. No, she wasn't even let go. She was just her contract's not renewed, right?
Yeah.
Which is different. So I guess what happened was they were like, okay, we'll just announce this is a show. And they said, okay. And what I can't figure out is, okay, you did little tiny, like little nuggets in The Mandalorian to set it up. I mean, they're a little bit bigger than small, but it's right in there. But it wasn't like she's like, hold on, let me go join the Rangers of the New Republic and I'll meet you guys on Sector 4, Parsec 7 with the other Ranger. Like, it was not like she ever did that. Like, that could have been even a gateway to understand that there was this thing called the Rangers of the New Republic, and then she doesn't need to be even a part of it. Yeah. So I don't I don't understand, like, because I honestly believe that Favreau and Filoni had an idea for this show. Clearly, it was based all around Cara Dune. Why he couldn't turn Cara Dune into anything else is beyond me. Aside from the fact that perhaps not everybody was happy with the way that situation was handled behind the scenes, and because that's not the way they want to do it, maybe they're just like, well, we just won't do the show anymore. That's speculating, obviously, but you never know. That could be it, right? Like, well, we didn't want this, we didn't like this outcome or the way you handled this and that. And this could be about anything, though. And so they decided just to I guess, back burner for now. And maybe season 3 will be like, how about you? You want to be a ranger? And there's a random guy like, yeah! And then that person becomes the new head of the Ranger of the New Republic. But I don't know. That one seemed so strange to me. The whole we haven't talked about it, we want it, but the whole Carano thing was just, everything was strange. Like, like I don't know. I don't know my opinions or whatever, but it's just like, it was, I think everybody handled that bizarre. Everybody. Yeah, on every in every branch of anything to do with it was just like, what the, I don't know. If you have a fire, you put the flames out early.
Yeah, like you said earlier today, or early in the episode, that, like, you know, Filoni has this new position, but he's apparently had it for a year, and like that was like big news this week. It's like people need to realize that, like, Disney and Lucasfilm are very, very capable of keeping things under wraps. And it's like, I feel like the whole Gina Carano getting fired thing it happened ahead of all this craziness of how she acts on social media. And they were kind of forced to make a comment because
that's what I think too.
Up in arms about it. And they're like, look, this is not the case. It's no different from Emily Blunt 2 weeks ago saying, like, I haven't talked to a single person at Marvel. This is all internet. And I mean, it's very easy that, like, that could be a lie as well, or not even a lie. Like, they're throwing us off the scent, right? Like, I don't know.
That angers. First of all, everyone asks her this question.
Yeah,
it's like she's out there promoting another movie entirely.
Yeah.
And all anyone wants to talk about is some Fantastic Four fan, which at the time was only fan casting. And like, I don't blame her for getting upset. I would too. It's like, hey, I'm here to talk about this thing that's been shelved for a year because of pandemic that was trying to take over the world.
That my husband wrote and directed.
Yeah, it's like, come on, I've had enough of this. I don't blame her. I mean, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Who cares? I just. Yeah, like you said, Disney can keep things under wraps. I think the Carano thing happened well before they announced. I think their hands were forced to say something because the Twitter mob got up in arms about everything, which the only thing Twitter's good at is getting up in arms about anything. And they were like, look, God, leave us alone. It was basically, I think if you read it, it's basically like, leave us alone. We're not working with her. That's really what it was like. Leave us alone. We figured it out, but we're not a bunch of spoiled brats who have to go screaming at the top of our lungs on social media behind an egg emoji face thing, avatar. Like, God. And you know, the thing I love about the Dave Filoni thing that was driving me nuts is everyone was like, Dave Filoni was promoted. First of all, screw you. You don't even know what that promotion means. Secondly, and like, secondly, it happened a year ago, and you just found out because you don't know what that promotion means because you don't work for Lucasfilm. And stop pretending. It drives me nuts about Star Wars more than anything else. And I think Marvel evades it because of Feige. Because people just view Feige as like God, right? Yeah. So, but it's like everyone, and like, you know, we've seen this with Trevorrow and then Lord and Miller getting canned. We've seen this before, but it's like everyone seems to, like on Twitter especially, seems to know the ins and outs of how a production studio works. You know, they know, they're like, well, Lucasfilm is doing it. You don't know like the people don't know anything. They see a sketch that was drawn in like 1981 for episode 7. They're like, we were robbed. You weren't robbed. George Lucas hired McQuarrie to draw. Like, chill out. Like, you don't know how it works. No, I don't know how it works. You don't know. We haven't been in a room at Lucasfilm in a meeting to ever know how it's going to work. So shut up and enjoy the ride, because that's all we're here for. They make something for us to go in, shove popcorn down our throats, have maybe a good laugh, be on the edge of our seat, and then at the end of it be like, that was pretty good. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't need to know who was promoted to this or that or blah, blah, blah. We don't need to know. And that's starting. And that is, and I've said this before, but it's that behind the scenes is fun. It's nice to have, but there's a fine line I'm finding on behind the scenes. And if you start to cross that line, you got Henry Cavill's mustache and you start getting taken out of the damn movie because all you see are the imperfections that you were pointed to beforehand. And it's not cool. And everyone on Twitter needs to shut up.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I speak for me alone. My views don't represent Rebel Scum podcast in any way. That's what I would write on my Twitter.
These are my own. Do not, whatever. Yeah, like it's all good news. I mean, it's also like Filoni deserves it. It's like a reward. It's like good work. You should be in charge of like
absolutely. Look, you can argue anything you want, but when he does Clone Wars, Mandalorian, Rebels, 3 for 3, 3, 4, and I'm talking season 7 Clone, which is still 3 for 3, 3 for 3, and he connects everything.
You're forgetting Resistance.
I don't think he was involved in it, but whatever. Okay, 3 for 4. I haven't seen Resistance.
I'm not saying Resistance is bad. It's just like he did. That's like considered one of his. But
yeah,
like,
okay. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah, it's a show.
Yeah, but anyway, he has this knack for connecting things and whatever, and
yeah, exactly.
And he sorry, I'm not even gonna say it, but he understands, I think, what Star Wars is more than anyone else that has handled a Star Wars. And I don't think that's even I don't think you could debate that or argue that. I think that's just a fact. And the thing is, he worked beside George Lucas for however many years. So, you would think that would rub off on him. He seemed to be a listener and a good Padawan to him and respected what he was saying. And I think if you talk to anybody else in Star Wars, I think, like a Gareth Edwards who made most people love Rogue One, but you talk to him, he would probably be like, I don't know, compared to George Lucas, what does he know? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and Filoni, I think, didn't he visit that set? He visited Rogue One, I think. He was probably like, you can't have that droid there. And then George Lucas was like, no, Filoni, you can't actually have that. You have that. They're all like one-upping themselves on Star Wars knowledge. And then Anthony Daniels is like, my word.
Yeah, it's and you think about it too. It's like we've followed Filoni as close as we can, but really, like, ever since the gallery came out and like that episode that just points out like Dave knows this and he's said this to George and da 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 da, and then he sits down and spins his tail. It's just like, in a sense, even though we knew about him prior to that, it's like we go along with that. We're like, yes. So it's like, Lucasfilm is dictating. He's like, no, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's saying, yeah, Dave Filoni knows what he's talking about, and when he's there, it is a good thing. So it's like, once again, like Lucasfilm is ahead of the game by like they didn't have to put it at that. Or Favreau didn't have like he was, I think, full control of that documentary. It's like he didn't have to make him look good, but perhaps he was told to, or perhaps he wanted to. It's like that alone tells people like you should believe this. And it's like it doesn't mean anything. Filoni's a writer. He can spin anything, and he's thought about Star Wars for what? His entire lifetime. So it's like, yeah. Like there's a lot of people that like know how to talk and convince you on a lot of things. So it's just like, I don't know. It's all good. Was there chatter that like, oh, Filoni's in charge. He can take over Kathleen Kennedy's job.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing on Twitter. Was what was coming, and we've had many fun conversations about that, but it's ridiculous. And I think I think the title might even be more out of respect and probably money, but he knows, and look, it's him, John Knoll, and Doug Chiang, who have been there forever. Who, like, they are like John Knoll's been in the special effects side, and he wrote the story for Rogue One. He pitched Rogue One before, and like Doug Chiang, every alien you like was designed by him. The ones you don't like were not. Fact. Like, it's like I remember watching those prequel documentaries. He was like, you're like zoned right in on it. Like, what's he doing? Oh my God. And I have Filoni's in that group. I think that's a great trio to have. And I would go to I'm not going to Celebration, but if I were, I would go to that panel with the three of them. I don't think they have a panel, but that's the one I would want to go to.
But it just points out, like, yeah, because like these guys have been working on Star Wars for years. It's like someone at the top of the ladder, be it Kathleen Kennedy or Bob Chapek or the ghost of Mickey Mouse, is making these calls, like, give these people, pay whatever these people need to keep them in our company. Like,
and
give them yeah.
No, and I do believe that some of the stumbles that they had in the early stages, they learned from that, and that's what they're benefiting from now. I do. I think they tried, and I'm not talking about Last Jedi saw trial or trying to Rise of Skywalker. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, they were like, forget the prequels. Like, they were hard on forgetting the prequels when Disney like Clone Wars was done. Like, right away, Clone Wars was done, and Rebels had like the original trilogy. They wanted nothing to do with the prequels at all. And these guys are prequel guys, right? Yeah. Like, they and I mean, it's been 10 years since Disney purchased Lucasfilm. Not quite, but almost there. Like, it's been 10 years. So in that amount of time, I think time has passed. When time passes, things happen, and I really believe that Filoni might not have been as well received when they were first purchased because of his connection to the prequels. And then but they still kept him on board because he's a valuable asset. And then Rebels happens, and they're like, but Rebels, I think Rebels had okay ratings. It wasn't great. And then he did Resistance, but for whatever reason, Favreau's connection with him through the Clone Wars brought him onto that, and now they're like, oh. And there's probably been 100,000 behind the door meetings where everyone's eyes and ears perk up when Filoni starts speaking. And as time goes, you realize that he was selected by Lucas for a reason, and that's it. And look, I mean, there's so many talented people out there. He's not the only one. I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying, like we said, when Marvel doesn't get it because they have Feige. And maybe Star Wars will never have that because it's a completely different beast. Yeah. But maybe on this Disney Plus side of things, he's acting manager of that for the time being.
Yeah, I can't see why not. So Disney's always been a company that diversifies their assets, right? Like, if that sounds, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like, that sounds. So, like, they're like, we'll try anything. We'll buy anything, in a sense. So it's like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's like, yeah. So it's exciting. And I think Dave Filoni's awesome. Like, I hope one day to, like, meet him because it's just like, you're great.
I hope he gives me a cowboy hat. All right, want to go to the odds?
Let's do it.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. Brought to you and James and I and everyone in between by Patreon, our wonderful Patreon patrons. I never know what to say, Patreon patrons. If you like what we do, head on down to patreon.com/Rebel Scum podcast and support us. We greatly appreciate it. In these dire times of the Empire on the rise and clones being hunted and Baby Yoda's, Grogu's going off with Luke Skywalker, where are you going to find refuge? And you can find refuge here, the Rebel Scum podcast. Support us, and we will add you to the list of the fine folk that we are about to shout out because they are wonderful and make our day every single day. And they are Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Stanifor, Sooner Thrawn, Scott D, Josh Price, Matt W,
Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Dio Raven, Spencer, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Aaron Quinton, Denna Nerds, and the Girls with Sabers.
what up?
Yeah, so thank you very much to all of our patrons. We really, really appreciate it. And there is a Goodwill's Hunting coming this weekend for all of you Patreon that Andrew did. It's about, I can't remember what he did it on, but it's going to be, Inquisitors. It's on Inquisitors.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, here we go. Never tell me the odds. Never tell me the odds. The I Hut will appear on the book of Boba Fett.
I'm going to go 100%. Yeah.
So slam dunk.
It doesn't have to be Jabba.
Well, he's dead. So.
Yeah, that too. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why not? If he works so closely for Jabba, it's so easy to be like, well, I have a connection. I'll go talk to another Hutt that's like, Jeffrey Hutt,
I hope Jeffrey Hutt is voiced by Jeffrey Wright. I like Jeffrey Wright. I'm going to go 57%. I don't know if they figured out how to do Hutts in a satisfying way for them. That's why. I don't think they want to do full CG, and I'm not sure they want to do puppet for Hutt. My next odd, the odds that Jango Fett will appear in hologram or flashback in the Book of Boba Fett. We were going to talk a lot about Book of Boba Fett, and we didn't. So,
well, I'm gonna go 100% again. These are some pretty good odds. Just because like they go out of their way in Mandalorian to be like, see, Jango Fett, and it's actually all it said, and that was just word. So
that was my favorite part of everything on the Mandalorian ever.
Yeah. So 100%.
Imagine if Jango Fett comes back and they've stitched his head on like something else's body and he's alive.
Like, even if it's like, does it count if Boba still has his helmet somehow?
No, it can't be a helmet. There has to be moved. Like
I still think there's gonna be a hologram or flashback or something.
I'm hoping for the helmet.
100%.
I love Jango Fett. Jango Fett's my favorite of all of the Fetts. He's not a clone, so he's not on my top 5. But and did I give a nod? I'm gonna go 69%.
Nice.
I like that one. So that's where I'm going with that one. And let's see. Our final odd, the odds that Omega is evil but not aware of it. Is Omega evil? Is she Cruella Duville?
I was almost going to go full 300% on all three here. Hondo percent. But no, I think if Bad Batch is limited series, and like, it would be weird to make Omega evil. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
But what if she doesn't know she's evil until the very end, and then they have to kill her to stop her from being evil? Like, imagine it gets super dark.
Yeah, maybe, but that feels like too much like the sequel movies where it's like, or at least Rise of Skywalker, where like Rey is a Palpatine, so she's evil. Like I don't, it's not fully, but like that, her whole scenario of like, what if I turn to the dark side?
I wish she turned bad in
the Jedi, but like,
I wish Rey turned evil in The Last Jedi.
Sure.
Like I'm not saying, I'm not saying like I hate The Last Jedi because of that. I'm saying just selfishly, like you were earlier. Yeah. I also wish Anakin was Vader halfway through Attack of the Clones. So this is like a recurring theme with me, where I'm just like, just make them bad.
Yeah.
And then Kylo should have been good in the 4th sequel movie. What? Anyway.
I think Omega, there's something about her that's very important. So maybe I mean, her being a clone, perhaps she has a chip in her that does something different. I don't know. So that's how she could be evil, or she can be like she's a weapon of some sort. Maybe that's the same thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna go 75%. Her who she is so unclear. Like, do they ever actually refer to her as a clone? They must, right?
Well, they say that that there were 5 altered, and she was the 5th because Echo's not.
Right.
So.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think she's a clone. People are speculating whether or not she's a clone of Django. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Like, they could have made her a clone of Django. Maybe they're trying to make females for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go full Brock on it though. I have to go full Brock because I kind of like the idea that she, and not like Rey, like you were saying. Like, I don't want that scenario because that's Luke, Rey are the same. But like she's genuinely like she's gonna be bad, and they're like, well, what do we do about that? And there's nothing you know. I kind of like that would add so much tension, especially when you see the relationship and the dynamic of them, right, with her and Hunter, especially like. The closer they get, you're like, oh, well, what's going to happen here? So that's where I am on that one, full Brock. Let us know what your odds are in the comments down below. Do you want to go to the news?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Hollow news. Da-da-da-da-da. Hollow news. Da-da-da-da. I just walked really close to the mic, so I almost got really loud singing it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, my mic's going to go.
All the news you need to know right now. Well, all the people that don't like Rise of Skywalker, they made a few changes to Rise of Skywalker on Disney Plus. Nothing huge, but like maybe worth the look. I want to check it out. When I saw the story, I was like, oh, crazy. The first change is apparently Twitter user PalpyYT shared a screenshot that showed how Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker now has less of a blue hue compared to the original version of the film. The changes made everything in the film, which definitely had blue tint to it during the first run of the movie, look little more normal. And the second change, the one that I was like, oh wow, Twitter user Jay Bondis pointed out that Disney Plus added captions for all the Jedi who speak to Rey during the final battle with Palpatine. We see names such as Anakin, Luminar, Ayla, and Ahsoka pop up, replacing the previous names that had been there, including Female Jedi 2 and Female Jedi 3. So I think I misunderstood this because like that's one thing we discovered early on when it came onto Disney Plus, because I love putting the captions on. Those names were there for a long time. So I don't know if this story is super current or new. I don't know, but check it out. This is the beauty of Star Wars. When they tweak a little thing here, it's like, oh, let's go check it out and see if we like it. Out of the Shadows by Justina Ireland is coming out soon. It will pick up the story of Jedi Knight Vernestra Rowe, and the character we met in Test of Courage. She and Imri and I forget the name, but it's Sana Staros's like mother or aunt or whatever. Those characters will return. They go on a new assignment in the frontier, and during this Vernestra will have a vision during a hyperspace jump, and as we know from the original books, the theme of hyperspace is a big deal in this. So if you want to read an excerpt that has just been dropped exclusively for Nerdist, head over to nerdist.com. Otherwise, if you just want to wait and be excited, you can pre-order now Star Wars: The High Republic Out of the Shadows, which will come out July 27, 2021. Check it out, because even though it's a YA novel, these characters are very interesting, and they do work with the main story. And this week is a big deal because in 1977, Star Wars premiered in theaters March 25th in 1977 in just 32 theaters, breaking box office records. In 12 days, it sold out every theater it played in and generated $5.2 million in revenue. So why don't you go watch A New Hope? It wasn't even called A New Hope at the time, but this week is the anniversary of it. And this has been your Hollow News.
Yeah, the news.
Woo! Can you tell it's a slow news week?
Well, and the blues have been slightly reduced on the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I guess I misread that because it was like, oh, they changed it to just Jedi. Like, that's not news in a sense, because that, like, we talked about that on the right. That's one thing I loved about it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Who knows? Yeah, well, Dave Filoni just got promoted, and Kathleen Kennedy was fired.
Go to the board.
Oh.
Fired.
That time of the show, Kathleen Kennedy has been let go. And Brie Larson has just signed on to play Omega as an infant. Top 5.
Top 5. What's today's top 5?
Top 5 clones.
Nice.
Oh, I don't have Rey on my list. I guess she's a clone.
Oh!
Is Rey on your
That
list?
was a joke I was going to make too. When I read this, I was like, oh, I should make a Rey joke.
My number 5 is Fives. I had to look. Whether or not he's genuinely 5, Fives had to be 5. So I did it. 5 is 5. 5 is 5. 5 is 5.
5 is 5s. One thing I struggled with is like, should we put Omega on this list? She's very interesting so far, but like, it was too much of a dark horse. So I did not include her on this. Oh gosh, what was my number 5? I'm gonna go Boba Fett because he is technically a clone, and yeah, put him on the list. That's it.
My number 4 is Hunter. Look.
He's got a skull on his face.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's all I got. I got nothing. I couldn't remember Sniper Rifle's name, so I didn't put it. I put Hunter. Crosshair should be my number 4, but I couldn't remember his name. So Fake fan.
I'm gonna put Gregor because he was comic relief in the Rebels show for the few episodes he showed up, and then of course he is in Clone Wars as well. But yeah, it's just nice to see a little bit change. Like, there's so many like clones that were like, oh, they're heroes, so it's like it's nice to have a goofy clone character.
Absolutely. My number 3, he's a commander, and he's Cody.
My number 3 is Commander Cody too. I almost put a story in Hollow News that like at one point Cody was going to come back in Rebels and be like a villain.
Yeah, I read that one too.
But it wasn't really a current story.
I've heard he might be the villain in Obi-Wan, which I'm all for. For.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be great.
So on my number 1 and number 2, I'm going crisscrossing on. So I'm gonna flip it from what I have written, but don't hate me. Captain Rex is number 2.
Yeah, mine is also Captain Rex.
Who is your number 1? Oh, it's 5.
Oh, I forgot to put 5s in this. He was on my list. I think I switched him out for Gregor.
My number 1 is Boba Fett.
My number 1 is Crusher. Like,
I
can't get enough. Like, if anything happens from this, you just keep like bringing him back. Like, I guess he's more comedic effect than Gregor is technically.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But shout out to 5s as well. Excellent, that whole storyline.
How was your number 5 not 5s? It's just you're not a fan.
No.
You're not even a fan of top 5 lists because of that. Like,
you know what it was? It's like I wouldn't put Boba Fett on this, but I was like, I gotta put him on there. Like,
well, like after the Mandalorian, I had to.
Yeah.
Before the Mandalorian, there's not a chance in.
That is actually true. I didn't even think about that. I'm still stuck in the pre-Mandalorian season 2. Boba Fett.
I since like before that, I was a bigger Jango Fett fan. I still am. But the Mandalorian made me go, well, I like him more. And now with the Book of Boba Fett, the ending alone is where I'm like, well, I'm all in on Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That's where. Let us know what your top 5 are in the comments down below.
What if the Book of Boba Fett
It's just a
part
novel.
of it is he's just looking for remnants of for some reason he wants like remnants of the clones, and he finds an old clone. Imagine that. Imagine that. That is how you get like all these clone. Oh my gosh. Because you can like then like they're all aged at the same point as he. So like you could have a Crusher, or you could have I don't know, like who else would you bring back? You could have a hypothetical Bad Batch character in that show because Tamora Morrison could play them at his current age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, throwing that out there.
I'm down for that. But I mean, by the time we get to the Mandalorian, though, all the clones should be dead.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
The aging accelerating kind of ruined everything. Damn it, George Lucas. I wish you understood Star Wars.
Right? But
huh?
That's right. The clones age faster. Boba ages at a regular
Yeah,
pace.
that was the one.
What the difference
That was the stipulation that Django made. It was that he wanted an unaltered clone.
Yeah.
And so, but even then, Boba Fett's like, what, 10? So that means he's been cloning for 10 years. Jeez.
Yeah.
So if those clones are 10, so they're like in their 20s when they're 10, like 30s when they're 10?
Yeah, something like that.
So by the time they're 30, they're 50, 60? Yeah, so that sucks. But that would still line up, though. Then they could still just be older. You could do it. Do it, Disney. KK, you might get fired if you don't. She was just fired.
Put it on the board.
I hope somebody like joins us one time when we say that and they're like, what? Did you hear that? She was just fired.
She's just fired. They have it.
That's like
we have a little ticker at the bottom. CNN.
Yeah. Breaking news. Kathleen Kennedy fired herself. and at the same time simultaneously hired Brie Larson.
All right. What a fantastic show.
218. What?
218. Wow.
Yeah, I can't get over how many we've done. It's insane. Anyway, I'm going to go make bread.
Nice.
No, not really. But we should wrap this up. Anything else you want to say?
No. Watch Bad Batch. It's a good show. And get vaccinated. You jerks.
I haven't got vaccinated. Suck it.
Yeah, but you're booked.
Stop it. I got a text message today saying that they had a slot available for me at Shoppers Drug Mart.
Oh, cool. You could have got chips, too.
Damn it. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. This is episode 218 of the Rebel Scum podcast. Please give us a like and a subscribe. And if you're listening, give us a high, like a 5-star rating or whatever. And I'm James. He's Brock. And he was always Scum.
The Rebel Scum. Cool.
All right. I better go call.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.